Getting ready to head out. Wanted to show you. This is what 41 Old Tamiami Trail looks like. We're getting ready to head to Fort Myers. One of the issues I wanted to point out is this is getting out of the complex. This is one of the hard parts. It's like right off a main road. And see, and it's fairly busy most of the time. So when you're trying to get out of the resort, it really could use like a traffic light.
Yeah, this is like super busy. We've been sitting here for at least 2 minutes without a single break in traffic. I do finally see a break in traffic.
Just finished up lunch at Hogbodys. These are good. We'll talk about it in the car in a second. We're just getting ready to head out. It finally stopped raining, y'all. And this is what Hogbodys looks like. It is definitely a southern place to grab a bite. What'd you think?
Honestly, it was really good. The wings here are so tasty. Like, this is a hidden gem. If you are in Southwest Florida and you just want to go somewhere local, go to Hogbodys. It might be out of your way a little bit, but it is worth it.
Yeah, they have some really odd flavors that are really good. Our favorite, definitely Ranch is one of our favorite. Key West, Gold Dust. We've had Aftershocks, really good if you like spicy. There's just a plethora of things here that are really, really tasty, really, really good. And we got to catch up with an old friend, so that was always fun. And it finally stopped raining, so we're probably going to cruise around and look at some spots of kind of growing up. So be prepared for a little history of Cape Coral here. Made it back down Pine Island Road, and we're getting towards Cape Coral. We're still technically no Fort Myers. I think we're definitely close. It doesn't really matter. Yeah. But this is an area that used to be, y'all, nothing. Absolutely nothing. And now there's a Target, a Home Depot, a BJ's, tons of strip side of malls, shopping centers. They love their strips here. But yeah.
Back in the day, all we had was a Lowe's down on the corner, and even that was pretty new, and a Steak and Shake.
Yep.
And an Albertsons, and like that was as far as it went back, and there was nothing out here but like fields. It's crazy.
Yeah, and down this road is where the old Mike Greenwell's was, which is, if you know who Mike Greenwell is, he's he played for the Red Sox. He was a Boston Red Sox player, but he was like a local celebrity that played for them for a few years. Had a solid batting average, but he never got into the Hall of Fame or anything. We're just checking out the area. Here is my elementary school and my middle school. I went to Calusa back in the day. It's different now. It's been remodeled since I went there. It did not look remotely like this. It was mostly portables, if you all remember portables back in the day. And then Nacy lived over here by this hospital before it expanded. She said yes, she did.
Yeah, I used to live... Actually, I'll show you the street that I used to live on. It's still there.
Okay.
And I went to dance class up here at Maranatha.
Dance class, huh?
Yeah, that was my dance studio. I also danced on a place that was off Cape Coral Parkway. But most of after that place, I used to dance over at Maranatha, which is like a Christian sort of dance place. But ironically, at the elementary middle school where you went, that was where we had church services at the church that I was going to at the time before they had a church.
Yep, I remember Sundays there were always churches in the gyms and stuff doing the
and that was our church.
Church things.
That was our church. So we were close to each other to a degree, but we didn't know each other. Small world.
Yeah, small town.
And I pulled into that place. It used to be a bank, but now it's some kind of oncology place. There used to be a lady that used to sell hot dogs from her cart over here in a bikini.
Interesting fact Nacy just said is what then now?
There used to be a lady that used to sell hot dogs in a bikini out of a cart over here in the industrial park.
Sure did. And she got in trouble by the city, and then she won. So she got to keep selling her hot dogs in the bikini.
It was a hot topic.
Oh yeah, as a construction worker, that was the industrial park right here, so you'd always have to go through there. And that place would always be packed with people getting hot dogs.
Yeah.
Like always.
I remember as a kid, my mom, we were driving, and she caught my dad at the hot dog stand. And I remember we stopped. And we had to go back, and she confronted him about buying hot dogs from the lady in the bikini, and she didn't like it. Like, I remember that specifically. And every time we would drive by, I would look to see if my dad was at the hot dog place. I was a snitch. What can I say?
Just kind of cruising around. See, this is the entrance to the industrial park. If you're ever in Cape Coral, this used to pretty much be heavily just industrial stuff.
That used to be a car wash.
It did used to be a car wash. There's the gas station. That gas station has always been there. Different names, but always been there.
And that was the drive-through
Liquor store.
Liquor store.
Looks like it still is. Yeah, they went back to it. It actually closed for a while. That's cool. They reopened it.
We would go there for milk and eggs.
For milk and eggs.
We're gonna go. First stop is gonna be where Gary and I had our first
Meeting. Yeah.
meet up.
When we first met each other.
And it is not what it used to be. But the plaza still exists.
So here is the plaza. That used to be a Blockbuster video, y'all. That was where we would come every Friday night, weekend, rent video games, movies.
That was like the one place you could rent videos in Cape Coral. Like that was like the only place you could go for the longest time. And then right in that corner next to where the H&R Block was where the TCBY was.
Yeah, it's a barbershop now. That's where we got our first ice cream. So we came up here it was like a snack. It was actually Valentine's Day. I had gotten off work early, and I was like, oh, I'll go get some ice cream. And I invited Nacy to come along, and we sat in the little table outside, and she got like a parfait, and I got a brownie sundae.
And he let me eat most of his brownie sundae because my parfait sucked.
Yeah, her parfait was not tasty.
It wasn't tasty. He's like, why didn't you just get something you wanted? And I was like, well, I was not trying to make you spend a lot of money. And then we kind of just said our goodbyes because I had a date later that night. And then I texted him after my date fell through. I was like, hey, do you still want to hang out? And
The rest is history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
20 years later.
So we're going to go, there's another close location for us. Let's get to that one. Leaving the old Blockbuster video parking lot. And go right through here, through these little alleyway right there.
This is also going to be a very special spot. Sort of.
There used to be, let's see what's still here. There used to be a TJ Maxx over here. I worked it's TJ Maxx still there. I worked at the TJ Maxx as a kid. Man, this is an old shopping center. This has been through tons of different stores at this point.
Yeah. There used to be a trophy store over here.
Yep.
And that was where we would get like our cheerleading, like football trophies.
Yeah.
And it was kind of down and like back in there.
Yeah, and there's always been like restaurants in and out of here. Which, at this far corner here used to be a CC's Pizza.
I doubt it's still there.
No, I doubt it too. We'll find out. There's something there.
It says CC's Pizza.
Oh, it still is CC's. No way. That's cool. It still is CC's. They used to have like $2.99 buffets, y'all. That existed.
I don't even have a price listed on the window anymore.
Yeah, that is CC's. And then I would work right around the corner. This used to be an Office Depot, and then a TJ Maxx, but now it's a Planet Fitness. Planet Fitness.
Yep.
And then there's the TJ Maxx I worked at. I had to come at like 5 o'clock in the morning, y'all, and I would do like windows and clean the floors on the weekends. That was my job. Here is the Perkins.
This place also has a lot of special memories.
Yeah, this used to be like one of the nicer restaurants to go to in the town. And you'd have to grab your Sunday meal or whatever there. And the Wendy's, they used to have a salad bar. That was the bomb. It looks to be closed at the moment. They might look like they're refurbing. But other than that, it looks almost exactly the same.
That is a ton more trees than there used to be right there.
Yeah, there's a ton more trees. There's also a bench for the bus stop over there. That's kind of cool. It's interesting. I think my friend said that Lowe's in the city put that in. And it looks like they took the Lowe's thing off that one, too. But yeah, let's go check this neighborhood out. It is so strange going down this street because it's so familiar and yet seems so strange at the same time. mean, most of these houses were here when I lived here. Nothing new yet. These are all houses that were here when I lived here. It seems less tree. I feel like there was more trees back then. Getting closer to where I used to live for, well, my childhood home, I guess.
Because that's new.
Yeah, that is a new one. What are we looking at?
Yeah, just past this.
Oh, yeah. Here she comes. That looks like our old mailbox is still there. That's kind of weird. And there are
a ton of cars parked.
A lot of cars in that driveway. Yeah. That's it right there.
Sorry.
That's the house. Old school. This is where I used to live. At the end of this road, there used to be just what we called a sand pit. And they were working on a marina and stuff down there. And this is actually where the Del Prado extension was supposed to come into. And then they changed their plans. So the Del Prado extension would have been just at the end of this street. And they ended up changing, and there's just a sand pit down there. What were you going to say?
The house is all boarded up.
Yeah, there's a house boarded up, y'all.
It's like abandoned and boarded. That's a new house.
So you can see, no, it's not. You can see definitely old school Florida. Here's that end area I was telling you about. This used to just all be trees and bush, and that was it. There was nothing over here. And there were no houses on this side really going down. And that was just like an empty lot. It's still an empty lot, but they have definitely cleaned it out some. Look at that.
What did you used to do in this neighborhood?
Tons of different stuff. Another bench. We can go down towards the end. And I remember we lived here, and they decided that they were going to add these houses down towards the end. It used to be all wide open, and like for 4th of July and stuff, you could go to the end of this road right here and watch fireworks and stuff. But then these really wealthy people came in and took the land over and built really big houses to block everybody out. I remember that all going down. Like I was talking about, here is the fancy roundabout. You can see these are $1 million homes. But they were really, really fancy, especially for the time. This used to just be dirt, and we could come down here and sit, and the Caloosahatchee River is right behind it. You could watch all the fireworks from Fort Myers and Cape Coral down at the end of the road during the holiday celebrations. Well, that's nice. An SRT at Durango. That's cool. And back down the street. It's a little sunny this way. Here is the Walmart parking lot. Used to always come up here. This was open 24 hours. I remember when it opened. I remember going to the McDonald's inside when it opened and being like so excited there was a McDonald's for shopping.
Me too. The front part of this parking lot actually used to be the old
Walmart.
Yep. And then they were building this behind it, and once they built it, they demolished the Walmart that was in front of it, and that was a big deal.
Yep.
Such a big deal for here.
Yeah. We need to go behind here. Make a left. This is the Publix parking lot. This is where I used to run every day. So I ran from the street that we were on, which is about 2 streets over, and then I'd run behind this Publix, and basically all the way to 4 Mile Cove. If you ever seen that, we might get there, because there's a cool Iwo Jima statue there that we might show you if we can get there before it closes. And I would just run back here and take this road all the way over to the midpoint, if you know the area, every night. This was the street, then we took this street. Basically, this would take you to the Coralwood Mall, which was, I guess, somewhat hopping back in the day. Did you ever hang out at the Coralwood Mall?
I did a lot, actually. I went to that movie theater quite a bit, and during my religious days, definitely tried to have religious conversations with patrons of the movie theater.
Nice. This used to be the movie theater.
There was a Hallmark in there too.
Yeah.
Go to the Hallmark.
Yeah, that used to be the movie theater. Interesting story here. So they would do speed traps here a lot because it's 25 and you come right off the midpoint of this road. And my friend got a ticket one time. So he basically took his car, took a chair, made a sign and then sat at the end right there saying that cops are down here, slow down. And the cops came and harassed him until he left. Because he was just warning people. And he's like, it's illegal for me to be on the sidewalk with a sign. Fun story.
Left here.
Yes. Down this way. And then, again, if I was running, I would run back here. And this area right here. I'd run down to 4 Mile Cove. And then I'd run back.
It's crazy.
That was the running days. So yeah, I would come down here and I would stop at the gate because it would be closed. So this is as far as I would get. And you could walk around it, but I never did. And then I would turn around and jog back. There's the midpoint right next to it. So they put more trees. This used to be a little more wide open. But that's the midpoint, which is kind of the big bridge between Fort Myers and Cape Coral. One of the 3 big bridges. But that was a game changer when I was a kid and that opened it. Made it travel through this place so much easier.
It really did, especially if you were somebody who lived out in the north part of Cape Coral. It was a huge time saver.
Yeah. Made it to Veterans Memorial Park. They've added a little stuff. So this is a new statue dedicated to Purple Hearts. And there's this one over here. And there's the Iwo Jima replica over there. There's this one. A tribute to a soldier monument depicts one of our Gulf War soldiers saluting his flag. Oh, okay. What's that one? This one's new to me. This is a 1-for-1 replica of the Iwo Jima Memorial in Washington. It's like to commemorate the raising of the flag by the Marine soldiers. And they made an exact copy. Now the interesting part about this remake is that it used to be located directly off Del Prado. That picture that we showed earlier in the video where we were at that intersection, that intersection is where this used to be located. It was actually at a bank paid for the sculpture, had it made, and then when the bank went out of business, they gave it to the city and they moved it here once the midpoint opened up. So that's how it got here. So it was originally at the bank down the road. So again, the interesting part about this is it was actually done by the exact same sculptor as Philip D. Weldon, who did the Iwo Jima Memorial for Arlington as well. He did this one. I don't know, is that a copy? Is it just a second edition? I don't know what it would actually be considered. But it is a historic site as well for Florida. Another great part about this area is there's this walking trail. If you walk this, you can actually get to the Caloosahatchee. You go through a little bit of swampland. It's a really nice trail. We're not going to do it all today, but we'll give you a little sneak peek. And there it is, 4 Mile Cove. That's where it stretches out to.
Yeah, there's like a pier out there.
Yeah.
And then like the boardwalk that you basically like walk through the swamp area, essentially. It's pretty.
There's the yacht club back that away. And again, that's kind of the Caloosahatchee flows this way, so it goes back there as well. We're gonna make a turn to old downtown Cape Coral. And this is the main road, at least it used to be.
And going back to what we were talking about, the midpoint, if you wanted to go to North Cape Coral, you either had to take this road or you had to take a road that was all the way on the other side of town. There was no middle point in Cape Coral to get you to the north side or from north to the south. This was it.
Yeah, exactly. And you have to take the road all the way here, go past the location, and then cut back to it because there was no real cutting over roads. Because when they planned out Cape Coral, it was planned to be the Italy of America, and basically they wanted to do canals throughout to make it seem like Italy because there's canals everywhere. So this is a pre-planned community. Edison with it and Ford was trying to make this a company town, so that's really how it started with the blueprints, and then they've basically mapped out the area and put canals connecting just about everything. Now some of the canals don't actually go out to the Gulf, but most of them do.
So where that Winn-Dixie is up there used to be a Publix.
Yep.
And when I was in elementary school, we did a field trip at that Publix, and I remember they let us go back in the cooler and see how they cut up fruit, and then they let us fake ring up people and stuff, and I just thought that was the coolest thing ever.
And at one point there was a Big John. He was probably about a 40 or 50 foot fiberglass concrete statue of a guy, and he had a bag of groceries. And one day, supposedly, now I don't believe this for a second, but people stole him. So somehow somebody stole that 50-foot piece of statue, just the whole statue, and made it disappear overnight. And they claim that it was stolen. Eventually, it comes to find out that someone paid and had it moved. But they claimed at first that it had been stolen. And it was like in all the papers. It was like this whole like thing. Who took Big John? Yeah.
But he was a staple for this plaza. It was actually over here to our left.
Yeah.
Right. Like he was.
He was always here. Big John. Now, when I was a kid, we didn't come down here too much. There was a pool hall that we would come to that was down here, but otherwise, we really didn't tour this area. This is all new. This high-rise here, and apartments, that is all new. It's not even open yet, it looks like. That's interesting. That's what they call this South Cape. This used to be the strip of the Cape.
Yeah, this was the Cape, not South Cape. This
was the Cape, yeah.
There's Papa Joe's Pizzeria.
Papa Joe's. That used to be a different pizza place. It was like one of the best in this area. I don't know if it's still any good, so don't go there expecting that. But I don't. You knew the guy who owns that auto shop,
well, huh? I went to school with his kids.
Ah.
Like that family.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time on this side of town because I lived on this side of town for most of my elementary school days. There's a 7-Eleven that is up here at that intersection that's up here, and my dad would take me to school in the morning, and before he would take me to school in the morning, we would stop in at this 7-Eleven, and he would get me a coffee or a cappuccino or some type of caffeinated sugar drink.
This one right here.
Yep, that 7-Eleven right there.
And on Palm Tree Drive. And then you'd go to school as a little child, caffeined up, huh?
Oh yeah, and then I'd get in trouble. Wonder why.
Check out the Burrowing Owls. There's a ton of them. Look at all of them. They have all these stakes. We don't want to get out the car and disturb them, but that's what it looks like. There's a ton of burrowing owls. That is really cool. Another shot of them. There's a baby looking at us. Oh, he's checking out the camera. So, a funny story. Look at him dancing. Look at him dancing.
So cute.
A funny story is, I was practicing my fishing cast in my driveway, and I had a weighted one that I could have used, but I was just too lazy to take it off, so I just kept the worm on there, and I didn't think, and I was just casting it on the driveway, and there was a burrowing owl that lived like 2 houses down. There was like an abandoned field that he lived in, and he ended up swooping at my lure, and he missed it. And so I reeled it in real fast and went inside, and then he like sat in the driveway for like 3 hours waiting for the worm to come back out, and we couldn't do anything. I was just like hanging out inside waiting for him to leave so I could go back and practice my casting again.
It's crazy. I've never seen a field, and we've lived in the Cape for a long time. I've never seen a field with so many nests.
Yeah, dedicated to them.
There's several more up here. I'm going to scoot up here.
I'm guessing they incentivize them somehow to come here. Because, like, they're all just kind of in one spot, which is rare. Normally there's only, like, 1 or 2 in an area. But look at all. It's kind of weird that they're outside a baseball field.
Well, they used to, they probably still do, but they would build their houses in the ditches.
Yeah.
Those driveways.
Yep.
And if it happened to your house, you couldn't go out in the driveway.
I mean, you couldn't do any modifications, yeah.
Yeah, look at all these guys.
Look at all these guys. Yeah. And they're all out too. Good time of day.
Wow, that's cool. That guy's sitting up on a perch.
Yeah, look at this guy. He's like, I'm just chilling, guys. I'm just chilling like a villain.
That's cool.
Well, that's pretty cool. They're all staring at us. Stopping at another one of our hidden gems in the Cape Coral Fort Myers area. We're back at Bubba's. This place is really good. Great steaks.
And good salad.
Yep. Let's go in and grab some grub. Check out the Bubba's t-shirts. She's a keeper. And then we have Happy Ending. And then that one says Blow Me. Great trip to Bubba's. Great trips. Made it back to the hotel, just kind of hanging out in the room. Got everything unpacked, but I figured I'd show you another view of our balcony. It's pretty cool, right? We're liking this place so far. If you want to see the full review, definitely check down in those show notes. There's the water. But that concludes our day of out and about in the hometown.
Yeah, it was a really fun day. We got to meet up with an old friend of ours, and we just caught up for almost several hours, to be completely honest. And we had some really great food at both Bubba's and at Hogbodys. So if you're ever in Southwest Florida, 10 out of 10, gotta check those places out. And it's always fascinating just seeing how things have changed and just kind of going back down memory road.
Yeah, it was really fun seeing my old house, going to where I used to run to, the Iwo Jima statue, and just kind of hanging out in Cape Coral and seeing some sights. So we hope you enjoyed tagging along with us. And if you did, please take a moment and give it a thumbs up.
Make sure you hit that subscribe button.
And ring that notification bell so you get notified we do at least 3 videos a week.
And we'll come and get you for the next one.
Ain't that the truth? Baby Ruth.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone. We just want to take a moment to thank you all for watching the video. To those 90% of you guys out there watching who haven't subscribed yet, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel. It really helps our channel grow and reach a wider audience. And for all those other YouTube personalities that you're watching out there, I'm sure they would appreciate it as well. To those that have subscribed, thank you for tagging along with us on our journeys. We appreciate your love, support, your likes, and all those wonderful comments that we're getting to on our videos. So we look forward to taking you on our next adventure. We'll see you on the next one.